Now we're talking to Cheshire Ireland's fundraising and corporate affairs manager, Deirdre Lennon, and also Eoghan, who's a service user. You're both very welcome to Disability Matters.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, and it's great to talk to you. So I might come to you first, Deirdre. You might tell us a bit about the history of Cheshire Ireland, where it came from.
Certainly. So Cheshire Ireland started in Ireland back in 1961. We opened our first location in a place called Ardeen in Shillelagh, County Wicklow. And then we became incorporated in 1963. So we're going well over 60 years at this stage of the game. And it was started by Leonard Cheshire, who opened his first Cheshire home, as they call it in the UK, for an injured soldier, as he was in the military himself. And he needed a place, and he wanted a place where, you know, people could be cared for and looked after that had been injured during the war at that time. But obviously things had moved on, as it is. So the work that Cheshire Ireland does in here is we look after people in relation to respite in their own homes, and also residential. And we have our various locations around the country. So we're about in 15 counties now at this stage, and do a lot of community support here in Dublin.
Very good. Now, how many people do you look after? And is it people with disabilities, or what is it?
We look after just shy, I think it's now at just shy of 200 individuals around the country, and people could have varying disabilities. They could have been born with a disability, they could have acquired a disability. So it could be people who've got MS, Parkinson's, an acquired brain injury, spinal cord injury, and then obviously from those people can develop other I suppose disabilities, if you want to call it that, as they move on and as they progress in life.
And can you take us through the residential service? What do they do there?
Well, somebody who can no longer stay at home would join us, but they come to us through the HSE. And they would have their own room. There are people who are there to support them as best that they need and as what they want. We prepare their meals. We would do everything from personal care to going out to meeting friends, family, you know, having a cup of coffee, going out to the cinema, whatever it is, just as if you were at home. And that's what we do. But you live with us and we take care of you in our residential centres.
And do they learn normal life lessons?
They have.
How to budget, what to make, to eat, all that type of stuff.
Yes, and a lot of individuals have, they have their own fridges, they have their own cookers and everything else. And if they need assistance to cook, then we will do that. If not, we will prepare the meals and bring it down to the rooms. But if they have everything that you would have in your own home, in your room. So you have your own bed, your couch, your TV, your bathroom, cooker, that type of thing. Everything is there for an individual.
And I would say that you can see some difference from when they walk in the door to when they get established.
You can. There are people who obviously, if they've been at home, then they've acquired an injury, and they can no longer stay at home. That can be detrimental to their mindset and things like that, and they have to learn to adapt. But then they settle into their own routine, and then we find out what it is that they would like, and every person has their own care plan. So their needs, their wants, their wishes, and we look after that, and we adhere to that every way we can. We look after their medication. And if somebody expresses an interest in doing something, then we will do everything that we can. We had one gentleman in O'Dwyer in down in Mayo, and he was a DJ years ago. And his dream was to go to Ibiza and see obviously all, Pasha and those type of places. And the team from O'Dwyer and Ballina arranged and got him to Ibiza last year, and two of his mates joined him over there, which was a surprise for him. But the staff took him, and he did everything. He saved his money. He made sure that he had, good health, that his weight was correct, to be on the plane. And off he went to Ibiza and had a ball, an absolute ball. It's
always great to have goals.
Yes, very much
when
so.
you achieve them, it's the best thing in the world.
Absolutely.
Talk us through a typical day then. Wake up in the morning and...
For a person we support, or...?
For a person in residential setting.
So a person in residential, so they wake up whenever they're ready to wake up. We are not like a nursing home. We do not have set times. If you want to stay in bed, then that's your prerogative. If you want to stay and have your bed tea and your breakfast in bed, then that's your choice. It's all about choice. And then we'd arrange personal care, breakfast. If there's medication to be done, that would be done. And it depends on what the individual has planned for the day, whether they want to just to chill out, whether they want to meet friends, if they want to go down to the local coffee shop. And that's what's done. That's their plan for the day, and that's all organised, and the staff will help them do whatever it is that they want to do.
Does work ever come into it?
For them working, yes. There are some of the people we support work, and then they also go out to different services where they can do extra arts and crafts, and they've made friends obviously with other services around the country, like such as the Irish Wheelchair Association, that type of thing. And then they'll go off and they'll disappear for the day, and we won't see them from one end of the day to the next, and then they're back and hi, oh, you're back. Yeah, I had a great time.
And what about the community living? How does that differ?
Well, a person is in their own home, or we're an approved housing body.
Okay.
So a person, we would have houses and people would come in, and the HSE would organise for us to take care of those individuals or assist them as best they want. And you can have, in some of our areas, we have just like normal houses, set of 5, 6 people live in those houses, and then there's an office.
And that's in the community?
It's in the community. So we have a place out in Greystones, and you don't know any different. There's a set of bungalows, and the people we support are in there. We pop in and out as they need us, or they ring the call bell and somebody will go over to them, and other than that, they get on with their day-to-day.
I would imagine the community living service users get a lot of skills from being part of.
Absolutely, and they get well known. And if something, yes, of course, and they're in and out of the shops, and they do their own shopping, and they might go for their pint, they might go to the cinema, they might do whatever it is that they want, but they get known. So just like anybody else who's out and about, it's morning Dave, morning Mary, whatever else, and then, should something happen, at least they know where they live, and then we can be notified. Not that it is rare that anything happens to them, but we can be notified.
That's
so
fantastic.
Mary's had a lost her bag or whatever the case may be, just for example, then they'll come and find us, and then we can go and help her. But other than that, Mary's out in her chair, and she's about doing her own business, and some individuals don't need a person with them. They go out by themselves. So
that's brilliant. And it's all to do with the level of disability, isn't it?
Yes, very much so. And depending on whether somebody has a high-powered chair or a normal wheelchair, and whether they need assistance 24/7. Some of the people we support need assistance 24/7. Some don't, and some need very little. And it's a case of, you're off out now, see you later. You need us, and they have their phones and they ring us, and it's just like anybody else, a normal individual who's out and about doing their day-to-day business.
I'd imagine that working there is fantastic.
I love it. I have to be honest with you, I joined Cheshire over 5 years ago. And I come from a corporate background, so I was in the corporate world for 35 years. And it's a different ballgame completely to the corporate world, obviously. But the characters I've met and the individuals I've met, it's very humbling, is the best I can put it. And I might think, I'm having a rotten day, and I'm there going, well, actually, you're not. Because there was Johnny who used to be able to do such and such, he can't do that now, but you can, so get on with your life and stop your messing, basically, at the end of the day.
I think it's fantastic. Oh, and I might bring you in there.
Yeah, no.
Might tell us a bit about your life before you had your accident.
Yeah, so I was a very active individual. Firstly, with sports, I've done a lot of sports. As much as I could. I mainly martial arts.
Oh, yeah.
So I grew up as a kid doing taekwondo. Then I progressed into kickboxing as a teenager. Then later on, just before the accident, for probably maybe 2 years, I done mixed martial arts MMA. And that was my real life. So that was every day of the week, 5 days a week, as much as possible. And then any other hours of the day, I was trying to do something else active, whether it was running, sea swimming, cycling, whatever it could be. Anything that got the blood pumping, I used to say.
Yeah.
Anything physical. So
I love that.
Yeah, I used to be a real outdoors head and a real active individual, I suppose. And then for work, I used to do cabinet making. So it was furniture making. So my life was all physical based, all hands on.
Yeah.
And then obviously when I acquired my injury, that all changed.
Do you want to tell us about the injury?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't.
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah. So in 2021, I went out mountain biking with a friend. And again, of course, I was out in the outdoors doing physical stuff like usual. and I crashed the bike essentially when I was coming down one of the tracks, fell off and then broke my neck. So most of the time when you break anywhere in your spine, you'll do spinal cord injury.
Yeah.
And then to the extent of how much damage is done to the spinal cord, that's the repercussions on the body then. And my damage on my spinal cord was very bad.
Yeah.
So I have what's called a complete injury. That means that I've lost sensation and function below the level of my injury.
Great.
So I damaged the C3, the cervical, the third one on your spine from the top. So what I'm left with now is no function below my shoulders or sensation. So of course my entire life changed. The whole physical aspect of my life was obviously taken. And that was my life.
How do you deal with that mentally?
I think I very early on decided, well, this is going to be the future, and I either draw a line and move on or try and live in the past. And like sometimes I deal with my head lives still in the past, but I try my best to wake up in the morning and go, right, well, how to be productive, what can I do to progress myself? And someone said to me a long time ago about, maybe the future, there could be progress in the future, but I don't want to live the next 10, 20 years in misery. If there's something in 20 years that comes and fixes me, brilliant. But I don't want to live those 20 years in misery. I want to still live a life, still do as much as I can. I get away, I love travelling as well with my partner. Yeah. And we still try and do all these things, but obviously with limitations. But we're doing as much as we can, seeing as much outdoor places as we can, and doing whatever we can while I'm in this situation.
Brilliant.
And if it lasts forever, it does. But if it doesn't, then at least I can say, I still done what I could do. And
did you always have that positive outlook?
to be honest, it's probably got more positive since the injury.
But
Your appreciation, your mindset changes. Like, it's a different view on life, I suppose, Everything changes. Like, it's not just your body or the sensation or function. You change as a person, Mentality changes. Everything changes. Like.
How did you get used to live sitting in a chair?
It takes time. Like, even the idea of seeing yourself in the mirror, which is something that people overlook. That first time of looking in the mirror, seeing yourself in a wheelchair is not something to be overlooked. Like, there's a lot to this to acquiring an injury. So things that people don't realise, and then I suppose it's one thing being in the chair in private, but then in public it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
You have to go out and other people look at you differently.
Yeah, of course.
And everybody looks at you differently. If you're are in this situation, you realise it was funny, we were only joking about it with my mom the other day. We were out in public and it's nearly like people run away from you. Like, it's like they're like your disease or something.
Yeah.
They're afraid to be in your way, and they panic and run.
The other thing we always find is if I'm your carer, they'll talk to me.
Yeah.
Not you.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is crazy.
That is something that really frustrates my girlfriend. Like, she doesn't like it at all. And she'll just ignore the person. Because, I think that I can say kind of understand it in a way, because there's complex disabilities that people can't communicate as well, or some people can't communicate. But they should at least try.
Yeah, of course.
Rather than ignore you, or open a conversation to both people, and then see how it goes and unfolds. You'll know after 2 seconds if somebody can communicate or can't.
That's exactly it.
And I think the best way to address it is just to be open at the start, rather than directing a conversation towards one person. If you talk to both people, then you'll figure out the situation. But
how did you get used to somebody else doing all the things you were doing?
Yeah,
that
can be hard. Yeah, so I completely depend on people for physical things, and I find that the best way is to just be really clear with my intentions. To explain to somebody, or be calm and really thorough with my explanation. My bottle, I want you to move this bottle from here to there.
Yeah. Or
go get my orange. I purposely got an orange bottle, so it's bright and you can see it, and it's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Can you get my big orange bottle? Yeah. It's not, it's things like that. Little things matter,
Yeah, absolutely.
All the small things like that, just to really try and think through. And you have to understand that somebody is firstly coming, and it's going to be the first time they hear the request.
Yeah.
So if I'm trying to just say, I grab my bottle. That could be a bottle of water.
That could mean anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a simple explanation, but if I try and do that for everything, and then that's, of course, the people that are helping me, I learn that there's a bond that has to be created. There's a connection and understanding that you have to develop and build.
Yeah.
So the first day you meet somebody, it's not going to work as well. But when you're with somebody a year, it makes a big difference, you know?
Big time.
Yeah, so it just depends, I suppose. Then it's the person on the other end as well that has to be willing and understanding that that's going to take time to build.
Yeah.
You know, and the frustration, I suppose, to try and keep it aside, you know?
Your girlfriend's a big person in your life.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'd be lost without her, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
tell us then, you go to Cheshire, obviously.
Yeah.
But you also use Spinal Injuries Ireland.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Which is great.
So,
tell us about your relationship with Cheshire.
Yeah, so Cheshire, I've a care team built around me that is mainly focused Monday to Friday, but in the morning times and on the weekend as well. So I have care 12 hours a day, Monday to Friday, a couple of hours in the morning on the weekend. So, yeah, they really help me to be independent by myself, because it's grand when I have Cirkic around my family, and they can give me a drink if I need or whatever, or they can bring me out. But when they're not around, and if I want to go do my own thing, or if during the week I want to get to work, or if I want to go to the shops or whatever it is, they give me that independence that they can help me physically. And my team are very good at understanding that mentally I can make decisions and they don't cross that line of we're going to tell you what to do, like Deirdre was saying earlier. A lot of them say they're my hands and legs, and then I can do the thinking and they can do the moving for me. So. And that's
easy, isn't it?
Yeah, and it works really well. You know, but to get that understanding and that build that bond with the team, that some people you just don't click with, and that's unfortunate. But once you find the right type of people that work with you and they're happy to work with me and I'm happy to work with them, there's no going back then. It works great, you know. And
you said you do a bit of work.
Yeah, so I do peer support now with Spinal Injuries Ireland.
Fantastic.
Just a part-time job once a week, and it's me and another girl, Gemma, we do it together. So we're the kind of services side to the company. There's a few different sections, and we work mainly in the NRH and partially on the phone by outpatients.
Right.
But it's we have about 3,000 people on the books, and a lot of the injuries that we're dealing with are the newly acquired. They're only they're injured 2 or 3 months. We're letting them know about the service, trying to show them there's life after an injury. Because of course
that's a really important bit.
Yeah, it's a lot of people are. So I always try and explain to somebody from the outside that we're meeting the worst version of somebody. This is somebody at their lowest, that their life has been broken, shattered.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to help them rebuild it and give them that guidance and understanding that this is not the end. It might be the end of your old life, but it's not the end of your life, you know. So that's what we're trying to do, and it's obviously a difficult job, but
it's a great job.
Yeah, I really enjoy it, and if you get to somebody and you build connections and friendships too. It's not just our job. We're nearly friends with all our changes as well, because we're living the life and we understand it, you know.
Well, if you imagine, I'm the one with the injury, and then first time, I don't know anybody. I don't know anyone who can help. I don't know about Cheshire. That's a absolute brain bust.
People think they're on their own.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think when they leave the rehab especially, they're in the bubble. And when they leave, they're outside and there's nothing out there. They're going to be, especially people in the countryside, they're going to be out there in the middle of nowhere and there's no one else with an injury. Or even with a wheelchair or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But then we try and put them into a network of, okay, well, there is a community in your area. We do things like regional meetings. And if you get one in, say, West Cork, and there might not be, the population might be lower, or somewhere else in the country it's really quiet as it is.
Yeah.
And then when they get into a room, have tea and coffee with a group of other spinal injuries that might be a complete range of my injury to somebody that's walking, but you've understanding with each other and you still have similar ground that you can build a friendship with, you know.
That's where I think peer support in all walks of life is fantastic, because you're at the start, somebody else has been at the start, and they can tell you how they walked, or he can tell you how he walked, or she can tell you what she did, and it could all be different, but worked.
the complex part about the spinal injury is that every single injury is different.
Yeah.
There's no two the same. Even if it was somebody that done the C3 as I did, and they fell the same way, you'll still end up with a different result. It's really, really variable. Like, but that's a hard part. But we all have common ground that we can build a friendship with and then try and help each other with. You know.
I wanted to ask you about, and I asked you earlier about technology, assistive technology. Do you use it, and how do you find it?
Yeah, oh no, I find it really good. I really rely on it, and without it, I would be snookered in life. I think it gives me that ability to still communicate. Like, look, if you call a spade, technology is a big part of the world now.
Yeah, of course.
And you can't live without it. You know, and to be able to use a computer the way I do, so I speak to it with voice control.
Yeah.
And I use Apple products, so an iPad and an iPhone, and it's already built into the software, so it's on every iPhone. You can turn it on now. Could use it. Anyone can use it, and that gives me the ability to use phones and the internet and whatever I need, as any other user would. Like, I can use the same softwares. Takes a little bit more time. Can be a bit more frustrating.
Yeah.
But it works and it's really good. Like, and it's like a skill that I suppose you have to rebuild. You know.
And what's the future like?
The future.
When's the wedding?
This is the question I keep avoiding. That's soon. One day,
Yeah.
Plenty of time.
One day. I keep saying I'm still in my 20s, still young. But look, yeah, no doubt one day.
Yeah, very good. Well, look, thanks for talking to me. I'll come back to you down, Deirdre. I only called you Deborah.
That's all right. I've lots of names there.
Tell us about the application process for Cheshire. How do you get involved? How do you get in as a person with a disability? Like,
as a person with a disability, you need to be on the housing list.
okay,
And then you go and you see your disability officer in your locality, and you'll have a chat, and obviously there's going to be paperwork that needs to be done, and then they'd make application in to ourselves, and then what would happen is everybody chats to everybody else, and obviously we have a clinical team, and they look after and make sure that we can look after that particular person's disability and any other complications that they might have. Some people have a trachea. So everybody has to be aligned, and then we'd meet the individual meets us. They would look at the location, if there's a place in where they'd like to be, but if not, it could be somewhere else. And like Eoghan has said, the person has to be comfortable with the team they're meeting in the house, and vice versa. And
I would imagine not everyone is.
Not everybody is, but in walks of life, nobody is going to get on with everybody.
Definitely.
And I think Eoghan would agree with that. And then there's obviously, from a residential perspective, there's other people living in the house, even though everybody has their own whole door. So they have to get on, and they have to all gel together. And it's bad enough that you have a whole change in your life, that you've had to move out of your home, you've been possibly in rehab for a while, and then you've got to move to somewhere else. So that's a lot for the mindset.
Yeah.
So as said, everybody has to come together. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's just life. The nature of life. But it's no different if somebody was going to go and, if you're going to go buy a house, well, don't like that doesn't work for me. And also the house needs to be adaptable and for everybody, depending on the complexity of a disability.
I get you.
So somebody has to be able to move around.
And do you have any events or fundraisers coming up for 26?
For 26, well, September is Legacy Month. I know that might sound all dreary and everything else, but, All Souls was normally November, and it's been moved to September. So we'd encourage, when we've been blessed with people who have left us legacies in their own hardship and hard times. So I'll be working on a legacy campaign, but we're putting some stuff together for 2027, because normally you have to work about maybe 3-5 months backwards to be ready. But we're always interested in talking to corporate clients. Assistive technology is one of the things that we're always interested to hear about, and people who can donate to us. We badly need vehicles. I think Eoghan will agree. A vehicle is very important.
So important
to get somebody out and about.
Definitely, and the price is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to Cheshire, if they had their vehicle, it needs to be more than just one user friendly. So it needs to be, I suppose, suitable for multiple chairs and sizes and shapes, and then you're looking at a bigger van or a bigger And bigger means more expensive, you know.
See?
They are very, very expensive.
That's a big bad world out there now, I'm afraid.
It is.
Especially
It is
with-
very much so.
Especially in the area of disability.
Yes.
I think everybody is trying to get a better van or a newer van.
Yeah, I mean, you won't get one for less than, for a second-hand one. You're still looking at 35, 40 for a half-decent one. Yeah. And that might only be one driver and one person in the chair that can come in. It wouldn't be the person who'd be driving the vehicle themselves.
Yeah.
And then for a lot of corporates, as Owen alluded to earlier, a lot of corporates don't get involved with the disability sector on the basis of they don't know how to interact.
Yes.
They don't know how to deal with somebody who's got a disability, and as we've all said, they'll talk to the person beside the person in the wheelchair and not the person themselves. So a lot of corporates might shy away from that, but a lot of corporates also just want to have their what we call the CSR box, their corporate social responsibility box, ticked, and they want to come in and they want to paint the fence, and they want, it's a bugbear of mine, they want to paint the fence and do the gardening. Well, for us, we always welcome a corporate. Absolutely, we're never going to turn a corporate away, but we would like a corporate to understand that there's a cost involved to us to get that day arranged for the equipment that we need, and we obviously need to make sure that we have our insurance in place. So we do expect corporates to make a donation and not just come through, but a lot of them are not forthcoming.
And
we'd like to see that
us,
change.
Do you know what the highlights of the pre-budget submission were?
For us?
Yeah.
Well, we have our highlights are what we'll be submitting our pre-budget submission. We're almost finished with it now. I appreciate that Doyle is just, well, most of them have gone on recess, but the rest will go out by the end of July. So ours are in relation to the auto enrolment. It's in relation to vehicles. It's a huge thing for us. And then it's also in relation to IT supporting governance. Governance is most important. Cybersecurity, everything else, even for the equipment that the people we support use. Yeah. We need to make sure that everybody is kept safe, from hacking and all of that. So there are a couple of the issues that we'll be raising in our pre-budget submission.
And they're really responsible issues.
Yes, well, there's lots that we could ask for, but that's not going to happen. But we need to focus on things that are important. And as I say, governance is high on our agenda, very much so, and we're governed by HICWA and lots on the regulators. So we want to ensure that we are, and we have the money for that, but we don't receive funding for that, and we don't receive funding for vehicles, and we don't receive funding for assistive technology. So these are all things that we need to, we have to get them somewhere.
Yeah.
So we're always open to speaking to somebody who'd like to help us out on that score.
Of course. Now, I'm finished with what I have. Have you both anything else you'd like to say before we go? I'll take you on.
Do you want to lead anything from me? Anything I've missed, is there?
I don't think you've missed anything.
I think you've done exceptionally well.
I think you've done fantastically well.
Hopefully.
And I think you're an absolute somebody to look up to, big time.
I think you're an inspiration. Because that's the first time I'm meeting Owen, and I think he's
your attitude to life is fantastic.
Yeah, look, I just think you have to be positive, We're all just passing through anyway, It's
that's it, yeah.
You're not here for a long time, so I think, just...
You're for a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
How about yourself?
Just to say thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure to meet everybody here, and a
pleasure
pleasure to meet
have
Owen. And just that if anybody wants to get in touch, they can contact me on Deirdre.Lennon at Cheshire.ie, or they can get me on LinkedIn or come through the office. Our central office is in Ballymount, so they can give me a shout.
Very good.
There.
Owen, Deirdre, thank you so much for talking to us at Disability Matters.
Thank you
very much indeed.
It's our pleasure.